All right, so we're being asked to rewrite this without the absolute value bars. So either this is going to be x plus 10 or it's going to be the opposite of x plus 10. Okay, so we would just want to think about, okay, when is x plus 10 actually equal to 0? If you subtract 10 from both sides, you get that, obviously x is equal to negative 10. So if we plugged this in to our absolute value, you'd have negative 10 plus 10. Well, that's the absolute value of 0, which is 0. Okay, let's do something bigger than that, like absolute value of if x was 9. Okay, in that goes we'd have negative 9 plus 10, which is absolute value of 1, which is 1. I'm not having to change the input, like what went in was 0. And that's just the same. When I take absolute value of 0, it's the same as 0. When I take absolute value of 1, it's the same as 1. Okay, so anytime that x is equal to negative 10, or any number bigger than that, like negative 9, negative 8, negative 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Anything bigger than negative 10, whatever goes in is going to be the same as what went out. We don't have to change the sign. Okay, so let's think about when do we have to change the sign? Well, if what's inside there is less than 0, so that happens when x is less than negative 10. Okay, so let's plug that in and see what happens. Absolute value, what's something less than negative 10? Even smaller than negative 10, like how about negative 15? That's a smaller thing. Okay, then we would have absolute value of negative 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is not negative 5. It's the opposite of negative 5, right? It's the opposite of negative 5. That's how we get a positive 5. Okay, so we're going to change and make it opposite of a negative input. Okay, and so that's what happens when what was in there started out negative. So that was when there was negative input. And this was when there was positive input. Okay, and what we did was we can just solve this for x. Okay, and so that's from right here. Oops, that was when it had a negative input. So I would just write this when x is less than negative 10. So the big idea here is just for you to think about whether what's inside here is a positive or negative expression. Okay, and so then what comes out is either exactly what went in, and that only happens when we have a positive input. Okay, or it happens when that it's the opposite, like in this case, it's the opposite of a negative. That makes it positive. So it's the opposite if what went in there was negative.